And hello again, everybody. I'm Gene Valicenti, filling in for Allison Bologna. This is Allison's coffee break segment. Allison, I'm sure, is busy decorating her yard or planting her plants, so I'm filling in. And this is just a morning break where we talk about the news that's coming ahead in the day and the news we've already covered. So I just finished my radio show, and the top story for us today happened to be WaterFire crying that they need more money and they may not be able to go on unless they get a benefactor to write a big check and keep them going. They're also asking for more money from the state. Mayor Smiley says he's willing to give them money because it's an economic generator. But I must tell you, the comments that kind of surprised us. 80-20 today on the radio were running against WaterFire, basically saying the bloom is off the rose. It's been 20 or more years. What have you done for me lately? And don't spend any more money on it. Now, there were people who say, no, it still draws a crowd. It's important for economic development. It fills the restaurants, fills some hotel rooms. I got on the radio, I said I'm pretty ambivalent about it. I haven't been to one in years and years and years, maybe 10 years or more. So for me, it's not a reason to rush up to Providence. Unlike when it first started, maybe 15, 20 years ago, whenever it was, I had to rush up to see it, and people would visit me in Rhode Island. I would take them, but that bloom was off the rose. So the WaterFire was a hot story, no pun intended, and we're looking for somebody who maybe can burn through money. I suggested maybe the Rhode Island Foundation. Go put the arm on David Cicilline. Maybe they'll underwrite it. Or go ask the restaurants for some cash to fund this thing. Not sure that taxpayers need to send any more money. They're already sending hundreds of thousands of dollars. So that's where we stand with WaterFire.
It is unique, Gene, and you've spoken about bringing people from out of state. What was their reaction when they saw it for the first time? in Rhode Island, our sensitivities are a little dulled to it after all these years.
Yeah, I haven't heard anybody say anything bad about it. And I remember, it's a long time ago, Dan, which is part of the problem. Dan Paquette's our executive producer, assistant news director. I just gave you a promotion. He's joining us on this coffee time. I called it coffee milk before, Dan. Pretty funny.
Yes, you did. And that's very Rhode Island of you, Gene.
Yeah, listen, nobody has a bad reaction to WaterFire. I think everybody who sees it loves it. The question is, how many times can you see it? And if nobody's willing to pay for it, then you got a problem. So, I don't think the taxpayers need to be on the hook for this. Or maybe even the Providence taxpayers. Smiley's raising their taxes $15 million already. He's to pay for his schools. Now, you want to throw some of that money at this? They gave $1 million to the Penguins over in the zoo. We're going to give more money for this? So I'm ambivalent. If it could pay for itself, if you get the business community to fund it, then go ahead, keep doing it. It still draws a crowd, but they're having financial problems. And the guy yesterday in Brian's story, they were really crying.
Let's hear from him.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's not guaranteed. We are in that process. We have plans that would strengthen it. We're making a lot of changes internally, operationally, to be more effective and efficient in what we do.
What do they have? They're doing 6 WaterFires. He wants to do 12. They've got a staff. Look, they have to pay their people. I think that they're making $115,000, $125,000 a piece. Several of them. They have to pay for the wood and the boats and the maintenance. So it's an expense, and they're losing money. And they say they can't keep going on unless somebody's willing to write a benefactor's check. So if
we can ask AJ about this, Gene. He's new to the area, but has been here for about a year now. As an outsider's perspective on WaterFire.
All right, go ahead. AJ. Have you seen one yet?
Yeah, I've gone to a couple of them in downtown. I actually live in Providence, so nonetheless, they are fun. But yeah, I don't want my taxes going up to be funding more of this, especially with the tax raises that are coming. Don't want to see that, but definitely is a fun time. And of course, some of the places that are down by the river, they need the businesses. They need the business from this event to keep on going forward. So of course, we want to keep it going for these next several years, but the funding, as you were saying, Gene, I think a good place to start with that would be the businesses that directly impact from it. Maybe could be getting a little bit more of a draw from that, but nonetheless, something we want to see keep going on. And yeah, it still gets definitely packed. I mean, you go down there on an 80-degree night in the middle of the summer. It's a cool sight to see and definitely very unique. I didn't really understand what the whole deal with it was initially going to the first one, but definitely helps the businesses. It definitely draws people to the city. So as a Providence resident, I want to see it keep going, but no, I don't want a tax raise either. So
okay, all right.
Two sides of the story.
Right. And the suburbs watching this, people, they're going to send money. We already send enough money up to Providence. We're going to send them money for this. So look, nobody's against it.
Yeah.
I think some people are ambivalent. Some people might be bored. Some people say it's old. But if you can keep it going, it's self-sustaining, go do it. But when you ask for tax dollars and a benefactor, now, listen, if you get somebody to write the check, I guess. But apart from that, that was the big talker today. AJ, while we have you up here, why don't you give us the forecast for the rest of the day? Then we'll let you get to work. Go ahead.
Sounds good, Gene. Yeah, let's take a look at what we got going on. This is the satellite and radar. As we can see, and you probably know, we got some rain in the forecast for today. We've seen some lighter showers through Narragansett Bay. But we're looking at these bands down here south of Long Island right now. Even some lightning associated with this. It's all going to push further and further eastward. So do keep the umbrella handy. You're going to need it for these next few hours. We can see 11:30 noontime, seeing some heavier downpours through Newport, Tiverton, out towards Fall River. Some lighter showers out towards Gloucester, Woonsocket. This is all going to shift further off to the east. Still some light showers possible, though, 2, 3 p.m. The good news is the majority of the heavier rain should be wrapping up by the time we head for the evening commute. Can't rule out a stray shower, even as we head towards 10, 11 p.m., because that's when the main cold front's going to work on through. But then we're actually looking decent heading for tomorrow. What you will notice tomorrow is wildfire smoke making a return. Just going to see some milky skies across the region. This is 4 a.m. tomorrow morning. You can see the smoke density is fairly thick here, especially through Long Island Sound, much of southern New England. And this will be creating some gorgeous sunrises and sunsets. Also will be raising our air quality levels into the moderate range. So not expecting above 100, but nonetheless, if you have some breathing sensitivities, may just want to look at those AQI air quality index values before heading out and about for the daytime. But once again, we do expect to see these numbers for the meantime stay below 100. Let's take a look at the inland and coastal forecast for these next few days. Tomorrow, that's when we break into more of the sunshine filtered by the smoke. Nonetheless, 83 degrees tomorrow afternoon here in Providence. 84 as we head for Thursday. Friday, still in the upper 70s. We'll be a little bit cooler along the immediate coastline, but still warm enough to perhaps squeeze in a beach day if you are off work and really not doing a whole lot. We do expect to see dry skies, too, for the second half of the week. The weekend forecast. This has been the big issue. The rain chances keep lining up with Saturday. Unfortunately, we are still seeing this here. This is our Saturday scenario, kind of the model comparison between the Euro, the GFS, two models we do use commonly for forecasting about 3 to 5 days in advance. As you can see, both of these, at least with a couple of showers here as we head for our Saturday. Not a great sight to see, of course. We'll stay tuned with this forecast. Any potential changes to it, we'll keep you updated, but just want to make sure we do keep that in mind. There's potential for a little bit more rain heading for Saturday, Gene. Not something the businesses that rely on some of that weekend crowd want to see.
Now, where are you coming to us from? Where were you before Channel 10?
I'm coming from Erie, Pennsylvania. I graduated Penn State for 2022.
Erie, Pennsylvania. That's yeah. That's
between Buffalo, Cleveland, and Pittsburgh, kind of the middle point. So lake effect snow.
Lake Erie.
Yep, right on Lake Erie.
And you like Rhode Island so far?
I've been loving it. The food is fantastic.
All right, great. Well, nice to have you with us. And you're a regular feature on Allison's Coffee Break, too. All right, thanks, AJ. I'll let you go.
Yeah, thanks, Gene.
This is Coffee Break. This is Allison's regular segment, but Allison can't make it today, so I'm filling in. And we were talking about WaterFire before. I think the consensus, if you can keep it going, self-sustaining, great. Wish you well. Tax dollars, that's another kind of a question. Another big story today is the Karen Reed trial. Incidentally, catch my daily debrief on this particular channel, the NBC 10 WJAR YouTube channel. Karen Reed in court today. She's getting close to winding her case down, but after she finishes, then we'll have rebuttal witnesses from the state, and then closing arguments, and then jury deliberations. So this will go on for a little while longer. Yesterday, we had this woman on, Dr. Elizabeth La Posada. She used to be the medical examiner in Rhode Island. She's now up at Brown University, and you could hire her to be a witness on your side, and that's exactly what Karen did. And she was allowed to testify to certain things yesterday, but she was restricted. Before Dr. Elizabeth La Posada took the stand, however, there was an argument in court and motion for a mistrial by the defense. Second time they've done that, because the state has actually showed the hoodie that John O'Keefe was wearing that night, and was bringing in material regarding the cuts and the sleeves and wounds. And the defense said that's out of bounds. This is a surprise to us that you'd be showing this and discussing this in detail. They demanded a mistrial. So let's hear from Alessi, Karen, one of Karen's attorneys, followed by the prosecutor, who made sort of a stunning admission in court. Yes, I made a mistake. In the end, mistrial motion was denied, but not without some drama. Let's listen. Go ahead.
More desperate the prosecution gets because it can't prove its theory, including its own medical examiner, can't support them, that they're now resorting to conduct like this. Your Honor, at some point, this has to come to an end.
It appears that I made a mistake.
Well, you can't unring the bell. Been trying. You can't unring the bell. So the judge did instruct the jurors not to consider much of what was said about that particular hoodie yesterday in a display case, but they heard it. Now, whether they're hearing too much, at this point, this thing's been dragging on with all kinds of technical testimony. And look, either the jury, I think, is going to make a decision based on their gut feeling, which they probably had walking in. Did she angrily back into him and leave him for dead? Or if you believe her, somebody else did it inside the house. And the last time she saw him was when he got out of the car and went inside the house, and she left and never saw him alive again until she saw him dead on the lawn when she came back at 6 a.m. that morning. That's the thrust of this. And I think the jury, either they believe it or not, because it's been dragging on a long time with a lot of technical testimony and satellites and times and clocks and medical examiners. And it's a lot for any juror.
Today is the 30th day that the jury has been in court for this trial, Gene. 30 days.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Now, you know, when we do our debrief, I have the luxury of asking Katie a question and re-asking the same question. Then we have our legal analyst. What did you mean by that? Jury doesn't have that luxury. The jury consumes it. They consume it. And you hope that both sides are making a compelling argument that they'll remember it. But you got to wonder at this point, you know, at what point do we say enough is enough? Let's move on. Well, not for a while, apparently. Incidentally, I'm putting this on my Facebook live stream. So we got a bunch of people watching us, and you can comment live, and I'll read some of your comments. Rich is watching, Mike. The Italo-American Club of Rhode Island is watching. Hi, guys. Rich is watching, another Mike Gallo. A bunch of people are watching us here today. It's also on our WJAR YouTube channel. And Dan, where else do you put this thing? What are the platforms are we broadcasting on?
It's also on LinkedIn, Gene, the very popular LinkedIn app.
LinkedIn. Now, I am not on LinkedIn, despite people sending me invitations once a week. I think I'm exposed enough. I
think people know where to find you after.
You know where to find me and where I am.
More than 30 years in the market, right?
Yeah. 6 o'clock in the morning, I'm here on the radio. 6 o'clock at night, you know where I am. And nothing exciting happens in between, honestly. So I always show, when Allison has me on, I always show a piece of my artwork. And this is relatively new. This is a Thomaselli, Anthony Thomaselli, great local Rhode Island artist. Dan, do you know what that is?
Looks like New York system to me, Gene.
You know which one?
I cannot identify which one.
That's Smith Street.
Okay.
It was one of the originals. And I saw it and I had to have this painting.
So where did you come across this?
This is Anthony Thomaselli's work. Anthony is a great local artist. He has that old medieval looking studio at the Providence Art Club down the hill on the right. Looks like a split timber. William Shakespeare lives there. You know what we're talking about, down from the Baptist church?
Yes, of course.
Yeah, the Providence Art Club is in there, and he's got the biggest studio, and he's a great local artist. I've got a few of his pieces, but this one caught my eye, and he paints a lot of nautical scenes, and he paints a lot of beaches, and he paints a lot of streets in Providence, and he paints a lot of New York City city scenes. I've got a few of those, but this one caught my eye. This is the New York system up on Smith Street, which was in the news about 6-7 months ago. Remember the guy running it was going broke. He wasn't making any money. And it was in and out of the papers. I think he survived that low spot. I think he got an infusion of cash and he's still in business. But that's what it is. That's what it is. This is great painting. Anyway, I share my art here with you. On the radio, I share my heart. Here, I share my art. Anyway, Dan, what else you want to talk about today? Before I go to the East Greenwich police, the police blotter, courtesy of the East Greenwich.
Well, Gene, not too far from where you're broadcasting this morning in West Warwick. There's been bear sightings recently. We're working on that story today on NBC 10. Here's an example if you look on your screen.
This is Green Street in West Warwick. That's a big bear. Now, you know, we have bears here. We have black bears, and they sometimes traverse the woods between Connecticut and Rhode Island. This one kept going. He's over in West Warwick looking for something. Wow. Imagine opening your door and coming out to that in your driveway. Do you know what section Green Street is? And is that over by Arctic?
I can pull it up on a map right now. Stand by.
Hold up. Look at this. Wow. Can you imagine? Did he disappear as far as we know? He went back in the woods?
As far as we know, he's just wandering around.
Wandering around.
Presumably looking for food.
Or looking for, is that a Buick or a Lincoln he's looking for? The other one's a Ford. Well, it's a wooded area over there. He's looking for something. Look at him. Whoever took that video, thanks for taking it. Pretty brave. Looks like they went out to take it. I would have stayed indoors. Let's see. That is
So this is not far from Factory Street, which is up by the high school, Gene. You're familiar with Providence Street because there's an antique shop over there that you like.
Yeah.
And so this is the neighborhood just over to the left of the high school.
Maybe he was looking for the D'Angelos.
Perhaps.
All right. Oh, I know where that is now. Yeah. It's almost like the center of town. Almost like the center of town. I think, is that south? Is that the south of Town Hall? West Warwick's a town.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Very close to it.
Well, listen, I'm doing a fundraiser for EastGreenwichNews.com on Thursday. That's a nonprofit that covers local news, and they print the police blotter, which is often very comical in small towns. You know what people are doing, the police blotter, and that's keeping these local sites going. John Howell over at the Warwick Beacon will tell you that the police blotter in the Warwick paper and the Cranston paper is a big part of why people buy local papers and consume local news, because they just here, for example, this is Tuesday, May 27th, 8:58 in the morning. A caller said a sheep was loose in the area of Hidden Lane. Police saw it that it was returned home. See, now there's a joke there somewhere, but I think I'll skip it. A lot of people drinking too much in East Greenwich. A lot of people come in from out of town and consume too much in East Greenwich, and they cross paths with the cop. There was one guy who admits to having 4 drinks he admits to having 4 drinks when he was pulled over. A resident on Valley Road told police construction at a house next door set up bright floodlights pointing toward his house. He complained. Police contacted the owner. They agreed to move the lights. So, see, this is the bread and butter stuff that goes on in a small town. The police logs and the police blogs. Anyway, you like these things. Make sure you participate or consume your local news.
I put up on the screen, Gene, you can see the story they did about you recently and also the information on when the event is coming up.
Yeah, they just did a great profile of me, and I'm going to help them raise some money on Thursday. It's a nonprofit, so they need some cash. By the way, they need an intern. They hire an intern to go through all the police reports, and so they could put it in legible, understandable form. 1:37, police dispersed a group of people on Duke Street after a caller made a noise complaint. I could see that happening on Duke Street. 10:10, police were called to Main Street after they found a woman passed out on the sidewalk. You know, it's a small little town, 13,000 people, but it has a bunch of restaurants and it attracts a bunch of outside people coming in, and some of them don't behave, and you end up in the EastGreenwichNews.com police blotter, which is always entertaining, as is the Warwick one and the Cranston one and any other one, Barrington, Newport. They all have they still print the police blotters, and that really is the bread and butter for these local publications. All right, Dan, you got anything else for us? So we'll
Final story for the morning, Gene, here is DMV warning of a text messaging scam that's going around. If you look on the screen, you can see it. Now, you're familiar with these. Everybody gets dozens of text messages throughout the day, and occasionally you have spam ones that slip in, and now the DMV is warning of this.
Yeah, I got one. Diane got one. The DMV doesn't text you. It's a fake. It's a phony. It's a fraud. Delete it and pay no attention. Bud Craddock was just on the radio talking about this, by the way. Thursday, I've got Ask the DOT coming up on the radio. Peter Alviti is going to join me and talk. We'll ask him about the new bridge contract. He said the two bidders were $50 million apart, very much the same on the plan and the equipment and the quality of work, but one was $50 million cheaper. So that's why Walsh Construction got it. Incidentally, if you want to see Walsh's handiwork, get down to New Haven because they built the Pearl Harbor Bridge, which was known as the old Q Bridge across the harbor. It's a big, magnificent project. So we'll be finding out more about Walsh. Peter's going to be on the radio with me on Thursday. He's also going to be my guest on 10 News Conference this week. So we'll get all the bridge news you're looking for from Peter Alviti twice this week. In the meantime, I think, Greg. Oh, hey, guess who's joining us? Dan. Greg from Onlyville.
Look at that.
Greg Stevens, who owned Onlyville. He just sold it to Scorch, however you say his name, from Newport, the guy who's buying up all the restaurants. And Greg says that painting is the original. My grandfather worked there before opening in Onlyville.
Oh, wow.
Well, Greg, I got the painting. I'm willing to flip it, mark it up for you if you really want it. Or maybe I'll sell it to Nick Shorse. I'll get a good price for that. Good luck, by the way, Greg. Greg has been over there a long time with his family with Onlyville, but he's selling it to a Nick from the Audrain Museum. The Audrain Auto Museum. He's buying a bunch of restaurants. He bought the old canteen. That's not Wally's Wieners. Have you been there yet, Dan? Wally's Wieners?
I have not, Gene. We've talked to a few people. Mario from the morning show here at Channel 10 has been over there, but I have not been. I have seen some video. They did drastically change the inside of that restaurant. It is not the old canteen that we all knew.
Ken says, love that you love to raise money for nonprofits. WaterFire could use your help. Would you lend your name and recognition to help WaterFire? You know, I do a lot of fundraisers for nonprofits. I don't think there's one I haven't done. But I think WaterFire's, no, I wouldn't right now. I wish them well. I'm ambivalent about it. I used to see it. I don't go anymore. And I think they have to find a way to sustain themselves. And if they can, great. I don't think you can put your arm on the taxpayer anymore. They've given you enough. Money's tight. Providence is raising taxes, and you want more money out of the city. I understand it's an economic generator. You'll have to get the restaurants or the hotels, whoever's benefiting from this, they're going to have to kick into it. So that's about all I could do right now for WaterFire. But they've had a good run. 438-9776 is my number on the radio. I say that in my sleep.
It's seared into your brain.
Seared into my brain, even though you can't call me now. I'm looking at my Facebook comments. Isn't it funny, Dan? This time of day, people are on Facebook watching.
That's why we're doing this, Gene.
There are a lot of people out there watching this. Mike,
Michelle,
Rich, Denise, our friends at the Italo Club. Two of them are watching. Rich Martin, Mike Gal. A bunch of Mikes are watching this. Roberta. A lot of people named Mike out there this morning. And a few Rich, and there's a Margaret. So, I don't know about WaterFire. I really don't. Other than that, I liked it. I used to like it more when I went. Haven't been there in years. The texts on the radio today were running about 80% against any more money for WaterFire. On the flip side, if you can get somebody who wants to write a big check and keep it going, great. We wish you luck. If you can get a benefactor, maybe the Rhode Island Foundation wants to underwrite it. But this is a tough time to put the arm on the state and the city for that, especially when Providence is raising money to pay their schools. We're looking for more money out of the city and the state too. We got a budget to grapple with over here with a lot more important things, much as we appreciate public art installations. So that's the answer. And that's the show. Dan, I'm getting ready for lunch. Coffee break is over.
That's right.
I'll see you on the news tonight, NBC 10 at 6. As we say on the radio, ciao for now.